Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. My name is 80 and I am terrible at doing monthly updates. I'm not really the type of reader that does like 10-20 books a month. Even doing 5 books a month is kind of insane for me. I usually read like 1, maybe 2 books a month, so for me it's always been like, how am I going to be doing like monthly reading updates if I'm not really reading in that way, and it's not like super interesting. But I decided that I would do trimester type of updates. So my plan was originally to do quarter updates, so each 3 months I would do an update, but right now in April I have actually read a lot and I wanted to include this instead of like ignoring it and just saying, oh, you'll see it in another video. You can have it right now, I don't care. In this video I'm going to be telling you guys about every single book I read from January all the way up to April. So I hope you guys enjoy this video and let's get on with the books. Alright, so in January I actually read 3 books. I firstly read a little short story by Madeline Miller, the same author of Circe and Song of Achilles, and this short story is called Galatea. It actually follows Roman mythology instead of her other books, which follow more Greek mythology, and this book was honestly not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but it was kind of weird for me, but it was good in a way. I gave it 4 stars, like rounded up. I think I don't remember exactly like if I gave it like 3.5 or something like that, but it's a very good book, a short story, you know. I can't really say much without spoiling it, but I do think it's something very important to read, and especially if you already like Madeline Miller's work, I think you will definitely like this one. Then the second book I read was actually on my Kindle, which I read Before the Coffee Gets Cold, and this book I actually gave 5 stars to. It was actually a very fun book for me to read. I didn't expect it to like it as much as I did. I have a lot of fears about time travel and like the rules of the universe, but this book handled it in a very interesting way, and I don't know, it was very cool, and I might try to read more of this author's work, but as of right now I really loved this book. The final book I read in January was actually The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This book took me a while to read, as you can see. I had a lot of annotations and stuff, and I also gave this book a 5-star. It's honestly kind of a 4.5 for me, but like rounded up. It had a couple of things where I felt like you could tell the author, Taylor Jenkins Reid, had some inspiration from real life people, which to me was a little bit weird. I already suffered through Wattpad. I don't need more of that. I kind of want to read more of her. I don't remember the book that I wanted to read. I'll put it up on screen once I find it. But I also heard a lot about this one, and more recently I found out that it's about tennis. But the way people describe it is like, is this just like kind of about Serena Williams? So again, the same thing where it's like, it's good writing, it's a very good story, but it might be related to a real life person, so I don't know how to feel about that. And since this is old Hollywood, it doesn't feel as connected, but like Serena Williams is still alive, so I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. I'm still going to give it a try. Still a 4.5 5-star book. It was so good, honestly. I didn't think I would love it this much. So many people hyped it up on TikTok, on YouTube, but it was still honestly very amazing. So yeah, if you like kind of glamorous stuff, I think you should definitely read this book. And that's everything I read for January, and now we're going into February. So in February, if I remember correctly, I don't think I read them. I didn't read that many books, but I did start a lot of books that will come into play a little bit later, but for the most part, and I actually won't be showing this because the one I have might be a bit triggering for people with arachnophobia, so I'll just show another cover of the book, but I finished reading the third book of the Heroes of Olympus series, The Mark of Athena, which was so good. Like, no joke, it was between the third or fourth book. Those two might be my favorites. I'm still unsure. I just finished the fourth book, which I'll talk about in a second, but this third one was so amazing. My camera died and I panicked. But I loved The Mark of Athena, honestly. It was so interesting. I loved the way Uncle Rick wrote it, and like seeing a bit spoilers. I love seeing the way the characters worked separately, but also like learning to work together, and then like seeing parts of Italy. I really want to travel to Italy one day, so this book was just like, it made me want to take the book with me to a trip to Italy and just take a bunch of pictures with it everywhere, like that was mentioned in the book, and I just loved it so much. So yeah, that's really the only book I finished reading in February, but I will now be talking about books I finished in March, which I probably started in February. Okay, so for March, I finished one book as well. I read The Sun and the Stars by, and I'm sorry if I'm saying this wrong, Rupi Kaur. Rupi, I don't know, I'm sorry again. But this book I gave 4 stars to. It was so interesting to read. I don't normally read poetry. I don't vibe with it. I don't know. I've never been a poetry person. But this was very interesting. It's a book that I've been wanting to read for a very long time. So finally getting around to it was very interesting. And the author like writes clearly from experience, and like to get a sort of message out to other people who have experienced similar things. I truly did love it. And I'm pretty sure there's another book of theirs, Milk and Honey, I think, which I also want to read at some point. So this wasn't 4 stars. I also don't think I mentioned, but Mark of Athena was a 5-star read, if you couldn't tell. And then finally we have April. The reason this video took a little bit longer than was first intended, but right now for April I finished reading 4 books, which is so much for me. The first book I finished reading was one that I did start in February, and it's called Art Inc. I will put it right here, and it's actually a non-fiction book about how to sell your art online and in person, like how to start your art business. As you may know, I don't know if you may know, but I am an artist. I've started selling my art very recently, and in February especially, like up until late March, early April, I was getting fixed up to do my first like sales stuff at my university. I'll put a couple of pictures here. You can see more of it on my Instagram, where I'm going to be starting to post a lot more of my drawings and stickers and stuff like that. I am an animation student, so art is a very big part of my life, and I know I want to make it my business and like my livelihood in a way. So like I started this book because I was starting to like begin my journey of how to sell my art, and I do think it's very important to like research and understand this type of thing that you might not know everything about. I think this book is definitely one I might revisit in my future, as obviously everything didn't click in my brain. I won't remember everything. It's a nonfiction. I don't read nonfiction. So it was very fun in a way, like learning new things and like learning about new artists. I did give this book 3 stars since, again, it's like more something I wanted to read it to complete challenges, let's be honest. But I am like optimistic about it in a way. Then I actually finished an audiobook really fast. It's called Thank You for Listening, and it's basically the story of how this audiobook narrator falls back in love with narrating certain types of books and like with life, and like it's a silly rom-com book, but it was really good. I am very much a rom-com lover, and Thank You for Listening was like Very cool, very relaxing. I gave it 5 stars as well. I've been giving a lot of 5 stars this year, which honestly makes me very happy. I am a mood reader, so I mostly read what I'm pretty sure I will like, so yeah. And then the latest 2 books that I have finished in April, you might have seen in another video, or will probably see in another video. I'm unsure when both of them are going up. But the first book I want to talk about is The House of Hades, which is the 4th book in the Heroes of Olympus series, and oh my god, this was so good. Again, like, this and Mark of Athena might be tied to be my favorite of the entire series. They were so good. I loved, like, all of the points of view. Like, I have all of the tabs of every single character, and I'm like, I want more of this type of book from Uncle Rick. But it was so good. I honestly used so many pink tabs, which for me indicates that I loved certain parts of it so much. Like, the last book I used a lot of blue, which is sadness, but like, this book just gave me so many happy emotions. I was so happy reading this, and I kind of just want to reread it, but I won't. I'll take my time with it. This book was definitely a 5-star for me. I don't want to spoil too much, but if you know, you know. And like, oh my god, I was in shock at so many points. The last book I will be talking about is actually Legends and Lattes, which is just an amazing book. I gave it 4.5 stars, rounding it down to 4 stars. It's not bad. It's good. I loved it so much. It's not 5-star material for me. This book was honestly like a really nice hug, a really nice cup of coffee. I don't even like coffee, and it made me want to drink coffee at several points during it. So I think it did its job very well. I'm also a Dungeons and Dragons fan, so it was just very interesting to like feel this more realistic and like sort of soft environment in the D&D world. So yeah, like, it was wonderful. It'll probably be a new comfort read. I've been reading a lot digitally this year, but this book, Legends and Lattes, will definitely be a book I need to get physically and like read it physically and stuff like that. Like, it's truly a wonderful book. And if you perhaps need like a little break but still want some fantasy in your life, I think this book is like perfect for that, honestly. Just get between your blankets, get a nice cup of whatever warm drink you like, and read it, and you'll be set for the rest of the week. So far, how much reading I've been doing, I'm almost already halfway done with like my amount of books reading I want to do, so like that's really impressive to me. And like, yeah, if you have been feeling kind of down or anything with like your speed of reading, don't like rush it. I haven't been reading much other months, and then suddenly I finished 4 books, but also because of challenges I did. But like, everyone reads at a different pace, and I think it's important to remember that, especially in booktube, where everyone's like, let's read 50 books in like 2 months, which is an exaggeration by the way, but like, everyone really has like big goals. So I hope that with my videos it could feel a little bit less like you also have to follow those goals, because I know I felt like that a lot of the time, but I just know it's not going to work for me in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have had a good couple of reading months this past 4 months. And yeah, I will be seeing you guys at another time. Bye bye!